Welcome. This is the alternate timeline. This is pure escapism. My name is Dennis Smith. I'm your host here on this show. And today I wanted to do my anime journey. I've been holding off on this video, but I wanted to give you a rundown on where I'm at with anime and give you my journey. So let's get into it. I want to give you what I am watching right now, what I have watched in the past, and what I have on my list to watch. So let's just dive right into it. My first love, like I've mentioned in a couple of videos, my first love is Naruto. That's my intro into the anime world. And so yeah, that's Naruto is the one, man. That's my first love. Nothing can really replace it for me. I know it gets people argue about the best anime all the time, and people like to crap on all the other popular ones and crap on Naruto as because it's a popular one. But that's my one right there, right? Got me into it. So how I got into it was my brother. He grew up watching Naruto all the time, playing the games. Like he was just in love with that whole show. He would watch it on a week to week basis. When the episodes dropped, him and his friend were always over playing the games, and that's kind of how I knew of Naruto. I always told him I would watch it one day, and that finally came about 3 to 4 years ago when I was out in New York City. I was living in New York. I finally put it on. I gave it a chance, and I have not turned back. Like I have since then breezed through so much anime, and because it is life. Anime is life, and if you know, you know what I'm talking about when I say that. Yeah, I'm thankful for anime. A lot of good TV shows with that, and a lot of cool quotes, a lot of really cool life quotes and life lessons in anime that like really make you think sometimes. That's like the underrated part of anime that people don't know about. Like they be saying they be spitting some fire sometimes. But yeah, like I said, they would be playing on the games like Naruto's Storm, and I forget the other one, but so based off of that, every time I would kind of sometimes play with them, my favorite character was always Kankuro. I loved the puppet mastering. I always found that fascinating. So Kankuro was my favorite character right off the bat before even knowing anything about Naruto. Yeah, that's I'll dive into my favorite characters from that show later, maybe at the end. But Naruto, great show, sentimental show, gets you through all the emotions. Also a phenomenal soundtrack. Some of the stuff that I still play today just in my headphones. But great show. Side characters, they build up that world and the side characters as good as any show. I think like you become a fan of some of the side characters, and they give them special stories as well. There's filler in the show, yes, a lot of filler actually, and they tend to tell the same stories sometimes. Like for example, the Itachi story with Sasuke, like the one here, they show all the time. They've shown it maybe, not even kidding, 40 times in that show, every time giving it more and more, unveiling more and more about it from different people's perspectives. But overall, a great show. And yeah, that's the one that I would say, like, watch Naruto. It's one of the popular animes out there. Definitely watch Naruto. It'll capture your heart like it did mine, and I'd never turn back. So moving on, after Naruto, my first one after that was Death Note. Um, that was a great anime. I think it's like 37 episodes. And it's an anime between this character named Light Yagami and L. And so basically, it's a notebook of death, basically falls into the human world, and this guy finds it, and basically you can write any name you want in the book, and something will happen to that. Something will happen where it kills that person. That person like dies in some tragic accident, right? No matter who you write down, that's what happens. So this guy figures out that he's going to use it for good and starts writing down names, and he kind of gets full of himself a little bit, and he starts doing too much. So he does more and more and more, where he's trying to just write off all these bad guys in the world to make everybody good in the world. And he kind of uses it as a fear tactic. Like, if you do anything bad, you will get killed off. But then they catch on to him, the guy named L, who's like part of the special investigation unit. They catch on to him, and then like Yagami knows that they're catching on to him. So it's like a mind game between him and L, and it keeps you on the edge of your seat the whole ride, though. The edge of your seat the whole time. Very good anime, very good intro anime that I would highly recommend for somebody that wants to watch something not too long. That's a really good intro anime right there. This list is not in any particular order, but this is just what I've watched so far. Next on the list was Hunter x Hunter. Also a really cool anime. You follow this kid who's trying to find his father, who's connected to this whole story. Very popular anime. It's got a lot of merchandise out there. Of the main character's name is Gon, and the other one's name is Killua. A lot of merchandise out there. So yeah, it's a really cool story. But it has its moments. It's not a perfect anime, but it has its moments where you can tell it's a little choppy. Because I think there was something with the writer, or the producer, or whoever made the anime. I think something was going on with him and his. I don't know the full story. Don't quote me on that. I think it's like something where his like predecessor had it, and they just wanted to wrap it up. So it kind of ends abruptly, but all in all, a really cool anime, really popular anime. The next one is one I'm gonna talk about a little bit. It's called One Punch Man. Also a very popular anime. My brother won't watch it because he can't take the main character looking the way he looks, like just a bald dude that has this blank face and says he looks dumb. But man, it's one of the most unique animes out there, and one of the best like concepts out there in my opinion. Where usually, so if you think back, because I like to compare everything to Naruto since it was my first. If you think back to like Naruto, that story is about a kid who like struggles, and he like goes, he like grows through these obstacles, and gets better and better and better until like he's, that guy. In One Punch Man, the main character Saitama, he's already maxed out. So it's really cool that they did it like that. He's already maxed out, like max intelligence, max power, max everything. Like he's at the top of his game, peak everything, right? And he is really just looking for a challenge. He's so bored in the world of like these superheroes that he's really just looking for a challenge, and an actual fight, an actual match. So the anime throws so many different things out there, where it's like so much chaos. They throw so much chaos in there, like all these super powered, beings and destructive things are happening to the world. Like an alien invasion happens. Like it'd be like the biggest, baddest, like whatever. If you could think of any like boss fight, like it'd be the biggest, baddest like boss fight you can think of, and like the most terrorizing, destructive bad guys, villains you can think of. And they do so much damage to like the city and to other like these like the upper class superheroes who don't know that Saitama's already maxed out, so they rank him really low. but they do so much damage to the upper class that Saitama starts to think like, oh, maybe this could be a match for me. But man, no match. Not at all. I mean, when I say One Punch Man, One Punch Man is the name for a reason. It's the name for a reason. Literally, one punch knocks out, it obliterates everything. One punch obliterates everything. So it's cool that he's already maxed out and kind of like looking for a challenge, and that's like the story of that anime. He takes on a disciple, a pupil. And you would think in like most animes, like the pupil would be like the main character because he's like super cool looking. He's got a cool looking power. He's like a cyborg dude that's like super dedicated to being the most powerful. And that's why Saitama takes him on as a disciple, because he sees how powerful Saitama is, even though he doesn't have the recognition. But that's where he's trying to gain his power. So in any other anime, he would be like the main character, but it's cool that the main character is actually Saitama. Really, really cool anime. It's too short. I'm hoping there's another season soon. But yeah, that definitely watched that. Definitely enjoyed that. The next one, Attack on Titan. Highly, highly, highly recommend this to anybody and everybody. Actually, it's one of the better stories out there in TV, in my opinion. Just such a mysterious story, like that had me captured the whole way. You're wondering like the whole time, like what is going on in this anime? Like what is actually going on here? In which they actually kind of reveal in the last season, season 4. They open it by revealing like actually what's happening, and that kind of took me out a little bit. I stopped watching for a little while after that until I got back into it because people were saying, dude, you're crazy for doing that. And it turns out I was crazy because it really ramps back up again. And there's that moment in the season finale that happens. And when it does happen, it's like super, it's one of the craziest, like, if you can say, twists that happens. And it makes you think back to like the whole story, all the other seasons, and wonder like, wow, was this actually what was going down? Was this what was happening in that moment? It makes you like question what was actually going on the whole time. So yeah, one of the biggest like twists in an anime that kind of gets your mind going a little bit. I put one of my best friends onto that show. He does not watch anime at all. He likes things that, for example, his favorite artists are Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, Kanye West. Like he likes things that have some substance. So I put him onto this show because I was like, he finally gave me a chance to give him an anime to watch because I've been bugging him about it for a while. But he started watching it and he could not stop. He was so intrigued by it, and he's all the way up to date, as well as we are sitting here waiting for the third part of the final season. So Attack on Titan, highly recommend it. I don't want to spoil too much more about it, but just phenomenal show. Definitely recommend watching that. Next on the list, as I'm going through these heavy hitters, Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer has some of the best animations out of an anime. It's really, really cool looking. Love the characters. I don't want to say too much more about it. The kimonos are fire, and that like the way they dress is fire. It's at the end of the season 1, they really open it up to a bigger picture where they show the Hashiras. Like the movie came out with Mugen Train, which was a cool movie, and that's what the first part of the second season is about. Is basically that movie. um, I do have my quarrels, I guess, with this show. I don't love how they're doing it one by one with these Hashiras going into these battles one at a time, facing these elite level demons. But that's how they're doing it. So Demon Slayer definitely up there. They have a lot of merchandise as well. If you go to any store that sells anime, Demon Slayer is definitely probably going to be there. Definitely probably. But Haikyuu, man, Haikyuu is fire. Like Haikyuu is definitely fire. It's one of those. It's a volleyball anime, and it's strictly volleyball. The main characters Shoyo Hinata and Tobio Kageyama. He's the setter, and Hinata's like the attacker, the finisher, and it's just about this team of this team of like, you don't think that they would be that great or whatever, but they find their stride, and they catch people by surprise. They have their internal beefs and things that happen internally, but that's what the story is about. You follow like what happens with these characters. But man, what a cool volleyball. It makes you want to go out there and play volleyball for real. Like, go join a club and play volleyball. The thing I appreciate the most about this show is that it is strictly like I said, it's strictly volleyball. There's no extra anything. Like, there's no love story on the side. There's no like fan service or anything like that, which I'll get into later. What that is. It's strictly volleyball, and it's a nice change of pace anime. Away from the fantasy fighting type of animes, and just a sport volleyball anime that's super intense. It's just as intense. Some of the moments they have are just as intense. Will have you on the edge of your seat. So yeah, highly recommend if you're into want to watch something sporty and it's an anime. Highly recommend that. It's Black Clover. Black Clover is awesome. Main characters are awesome. Asta and Yuno. They're brothers. It's there's these teams with this magic kingdom, and it's about like they all have like the book, like they're mages. Asta doesn't get any of his powers, but eventually gets the anti magic power, so he's able to like cancel out magic. He's one of those that similar to Naruto, like he works super hard. He works harder than everybody else, like physically. So everybody else like has all this magic, maybe super powerful with magic, but he's so gifted physically because he didn't have any magic, so he worked at his body more than most people. So he's a really cool main character. Once you get past like how loud he is, he's a loud dude, really obnoxious dude, but really cool magic anime. So the team that he goes to is called the Black Bulls. Captain Yami's the apps, obviously the captain, and he's one of the best senseis in anime out there, which at the end of this video I will give you my top 5 senseis out there, or top 6. I think it's a top 6 senseis out there. But Captain Yami's dope. Characters are dope in that. Again, the side characters really good, character arcs as well. So yeah, definitely Black Clover is a really good anime. Jujutsu Kaisen is one of the newer animes out there. I didn't get into it at first, then my brother got me into it again. It's one of those where my brother got me into it again. It turned out actually really liking Jujutsu Kaisen. Some of the battles are so dope. Also, Gojo, definitely a top 6 sensei out there. But yeah, just the battle scenes, the fight scenes in that are pretty top tier. And the story is the story. It's nothing too crazy, but it's a good popular anime right now. Waiting for the next season on that. which should be fun. We have My Hero Academia. Man, right off the bat, let me just say some of the best music in an anime. Like there's this song that they play when things are like starting to look up, like maybe a battle's not going the way they want, but when they figure out what to do, like the good guys figure out what to do and like how to like overcome it, there's a song that plays and it gives you like chills. It's like hype. It is hype, man. um yeah, I would say as far as like it also plays with your emotions too, man. Like I would say Naruto and My Hero, the only ones that kind of can get me teary eyed, especially when that song come on in those moments. It's like, oh, let's go. But it's about a guy that, this kid, he looks up to it's a superheroes, right? It's a superhero world. This kid that doesn't get any powers growing up, so like the main superhero gives him or lends him his power, but he can only use like a super small percentage of it at first, and he kind of builds up a little bit, but like he can only use like 6% of the power. It's really cool because or else he'll like break, his limbs will break, his bones will break, like his body can't take the full extent of this guy's power. And yeah, man, that's a really cool show. I would recommend it for, this is gonna be interesting. I recommend it for couples actually. Like it's like cute enough where like a girl would love it, but also like badass enough where like uh dudes would love it as well. Highly recommend that. God, there's just one moment that still blows my mind. Like it just makes too much sense. Like I said, he can only use like a super small percentage of his power, but he meets this other powered girl, which she doesn't know how to control her power, but like she takes other people's power. So like she like drains people's powers, right? So there's a point where like he uses that to go full strength in one of his battles, to basically go full strength because she's draining, but he's able to use it. And it's like, man, it's one of the better scenes out. It's one of the most badass moments in anime for me. Um, so yeah, that My Hero Academia, top tier for me. Bleach, I recently watched Bleach. My brother told me it was one of the pillars of anime. I recently watched Bleach, finished it. I know there's another season or another arc that's coming, which I'm excited for. One of those that has the really good life quotes in there. You will hear the words spiritual pressure maybe 50 times, maybe 100 times in that show. That's all they say is spiritual pressure. You'll get used to it, but that's how they are aware of how strong somebody is in that show. Um, so yeah, it's so funny, man. Me and my brother play around with the whole spiritual pressure thing. Say like I'm scrolling on IG or Twitter or something, and I see somebody do something crazy, where you're like, dang, like those videos where you're like, whoa, like that was wild. Um, I'll come across one of those and send it to my brother and be like, yo, the spiritual pressure on this girl or this dude is crazy. Like the spiritual pressure is off the charts. Bleach, definitely top tier. Has one of my favorite characters in all of anime. His name is Shinsui. His Sanpakuto power, which Sanpakuto is like the sword power, the weapon power that they use. Yeah, Shinsui is just, he's awesome. Like his outlook on life is amazing to me. He's got like the super chill vibe. Also one of the best like kimono fits in anime in my opinion. Um yeah, just love his outlook on life. Um Super dope anime, really good anime. Again, like not a perfect anime, but really good anime. Is Bleach. Definitely kind of a classic feel to that anime. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. It's about the journey of the Elric brothers. It's a very popular anime that a lot of fans will tell you is their favorite anime, and it's one of the more complete animes. It's a completed show, start to finish, very solid all the way through. I don't know if I would put it in my like top five, but it's really good. If you're somebody that's already into anime and you haven't watched it, definitely recommend watching that. Tokyo Revengers I recently watched. And waiting for that second season. Really cool anime that they do some time hopping in there, do some time traveling in there. Um, but it makes sense to the story. It makes the story really intriguing that way, and you're really rooting for the main character. You're really actually rooting for um, these two characters that come off as like bad guys in the beginning because everybody's scared of them. But it's about gangs. Like once you get past like the fact that these guys are like they might be in high school or even middle school. Once you get past the fact that they're dangerous gangs, like in a high school or a middle school like that, um, it becomes really cool. But yeah, they make you really root for these delinquents in this gang, and hoping that the main character can kind of change their ways a little bit. Watch it and you'll know what I'm talking about. It makes sense. Ooh, the next one's gonna be controversial. So Boruto, man. So Boruto is the son of Naruto, right? And so it's different. Um, Boruto has some definitely forgettable moments, some forgettable arcs that did nothing for me. So I definitely understand watching Boruto out of respect to Naruto. You know, out of respect for Naruto, that's the man right there. But again, like my brother, you know, when I before I started watching it, my brother was telling me like it's just a different time. You know, they're growing up in a time where the village is peaceful after Naruto. Like Naruto like made everything peaceful, right? And you know, so the kids are growing up in a peaceful like world where it was different for Naruto, where they were growing up in like nations hated each other, wars were going on, like if you stepped outside of the village, like your life was probably on the line. um, and it's just not the case for Boruto and his people. So he grows up kind of him and his friends grow up kind of spoiled. Um, the whole Hidden Leaf village is like remodeled and has a whole new different look. It's more advanced. Um, so they grow up in a way where like they're not really worried about anything. So because of that, they don't like grind the way Naruto and his group of friends did. Like they don't grind and like practice as hard, and you know like Naruto and them go hard like as young as they were going hard. Like one of the very first arcs, like they were in danger fighting for their lives, fighting um Zabuza and Haku. Like they were in danger for their lives. So it's just different. Like Boruto didn't really have that. Excuse me. So it's taking some time for them to like reach levels where they can fend for themselves. And but yeah, they it does a good job capturing you in the very beginning because it shows they give a flash forward into the future of like what Boruto turns out to look like and what his power is and stuff like that. And you're like, and it catches you. It's like, dang, like whoa, like, this is no joke. But then it's like a lot of filler and filler and filler and filler when you're actually watching these episodes. So you really, I think everybody's just kind of waiting until they get to like the main stuff with Boruto. But again, I watch it because I enjoy the Naruto world. I enjoy the connections. So like you know how like I was saying the side characters in Naruto are like awesome and or they have their own characters arcs, and the fillers that they were in kind of like boost the story for me. And Boruto, in my opinion, throws that in the trash, which I don't like that. Like I like they are a little bit disrespectful to some of the side characters that we've grown to love in that show. Um, for example, like Rock Lee, you know, Hinata is basically sidelined in that show. All your favorite characters, like all the favorite side characters, are like kind of just there. And even when a battle goes down, like they're just kind of there. They don't really do anything, or like the bad guy is so powerful that they just like are tossed aside. and that kind of ruins the show a little bit for me. But yeah, Tokyo Ghoul, I watched it. I know there's controversy there, because apparently they changed the manga. Me myself, I'm not a big manga reader, so I can't really give you much on the manga. But I heard they strayed away from the manga a little bit. I didn't mind. It's a cool little show. Nothing too crazy. I appreciated the darker elements of that show. I do like that. But yeah, it's a decent show. It's a decent show. Code Geass is a cool show. It's similar to Death Note in a way where this guy gets this power where he can kind of manipulate people and control people, mind control people. And he does this and builds an empire doing just that. He kind of makes a name for himself, but without people really knowing who he is. He creates like a persona, and he does this to take down the family that he comes from. Pretty decent anime. Here are some of the classics that I've watched. Yeah, Cowboy Bebop. It's considered a classic. People might kill me for this, but I don't. It's not a classic for me. I thought it was decent. Thought it was, it was enjoyable. Enjoy the vibe of it. But for me, wasn't really like as great as everybody says it is. But it was enjoyable. It was enjoyable. I wish there was more to it, I think, but it was enjoyable. Samurai Shampoo, which is also like looped in with like that classic Cowboy Bebop. Now I did really enjoy Samurai Shampoo. One of the better soundtracks out there. They got like the hip hop going on, the sound scratching of it going on. The characters are lovable. The fight scenes are really cool. Not too long of a show, so you can definitely fly through that show. I might watch that one again. Now one of the classics, Yuyu Hakusho. Yuyu Hakusho is one of my favorite animes. I think it's in my top 5. It's got the best intro song of all time. It's called Smile Bomb. If you're watching that intro, I don't know how you don't smile. Just one of the best like feel good intro animes, or feel good anime intros out there. And yeah, what a great show. It's it's about this guy. He's kind of a jerk or whatever, but he dies and he's reborn again, and he's like, yeah, he has connections with the spirit world, and they kind of make him battle out these like demon spirits. And or it's known for the battle style, like the arena battle style. It's known for being like one of the first to do that or do it well. Really enjoyed Yu Yu Hakusho. That is a fire show. Speaking of fire shows, Fire Force. Watch Fire Force. I just saw that there's a season 3 coming out. Highly recommend Fire Force. To me, it's on the tier of a Demon Slayer. Even though it goes underrated. Like, it's not as popular, but shows these really unique powers. Like the powers of the main characters, super unique. It's got a unique look to it. Like the main characters is a part of this like firefighters basically. They rock these firefighter uniforms. So it's different than like your typical like, oh, this guy's got like this cool armor, or he got this cool look or whatever. They're just like rocking firefighter uniforms, but they all got unique powers. It's got unique animation. They deal with supernatural fire incidents. Definitely recommend Fire Force. Can't wait for season 3. Love the animation on that. Dope show. Promise Neverland. Another one that has some controversy too. I guess season 2 they changed a little bit from the manga, so people are a little bit upset. Promised Neverland is cool in my book though, man. It's got one of the better openings in anime to me, where it's these kids at this, they're all like these like cute kids at this foster home, and you think you're watching one thing. So I had no idea going into this what the show is about, but you think you're watching one thing, and then they reveal like what's actually going on, and you're like, whoa. It's one of those like, moments. Like it's not sweet. It is not sweet. So good, really good, very good for first season. The first season is phenomenal. Highly recommend watching the first season at least, and then you judge the second season for yourself. Then there's this show with this weird title that I watched. It's called "Is It Wrong to Try to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon?" There's another name for it called Danmachi, but is it wrong to try to pick up girls in a dungeon? The answer to that is yes. Also, is it wrong to skip over the show because it has a weird title? The answer is also yes. The show's dope. The show is dope. It's, if I can compare it to any show, it's like Black Clover. A lot of like the magic going on. He's got to level up. The main character's got to level up, right? So like, that kind of story. But very fun show. Don't skip that show when you see it. Just click on it. It's got a weird name, I know. Click on it, watch it, enjoy it. Cool anime. I did watch God of High School. I don't have much to say on that one. The first season was only, I think, 12 episodes. Has this battle arena style to it, but at the end of the season 1, it looks like it's gonna open up more. Has some unique powers to it, some really cool looking powers to it. I think the main character is more powerful than he thinks he is, which I think he showed at the end of the first season. Yeah, I don't have too much to say on that one. It's a cool anime. The first 12 episodes. Mob Psycho. Just recently watched that. Has a similar look to One Punch Man. The main character has like that similar face where it's like blank and kind of looks like dumb, right? But he's like one of the most powerful psychics out there. Really enjoyed the show. I was recommended it by one of my brother's friends. One of my favorite anime characters in there is Reagan, who's like the sensei. So he's in my top 5 senseis too, if you can call him a sensei. He's one of the best anime characters in my opinion. He's very confident and very cocky when it comes to situations. He's somebody that has no power. Like, he has no powers, but he's teaching this super powerful kid. He's like making money off it. He like runs a business, right? So he teaches this kid basically like how to use his powers, but he doesn't have the powers himself. He's a normal dude. Yeah, Reagan is super fun character. He's super hilarious. Does things that make you laugh. He's confident and cocky without powers. So he's always gonna be in these situations because he runs a business with this kid, hunting down spirits for people. So he's basically like a spirit detective, and he hunts these spirits down so that the kid can deal with the spirits. But sometimes he'll be in those moments, and since he doesn't have any powers, he'll just do regular human stuff. Like he'll do like a kick or something like that, and he always like gets a move off because the spirits can never sense his power because it doesn't have any, so they don't look at him as anything powerful. And because of that, he like uses that to his advantage a little bit. But he goes into every situation like super confident, and he spits some fire too. Like, he says some really dope things, like life lesson type things. And yeah, one of the cool characters in anime, man. He's definitely a top 5 character in anime for me. So yeah, Mob Psycho, highly recommend. I think another season is on the way. Plunder is a pretty random anime that I watched. I enjoyed it. I don't think it's for everybody. I enjoyed it. You know, fight scenes were really cool. I came across it just kind of browsing on Hulu, I think, and I just clicked on it, watched it, enjoyed it. You know, it's about these people that live kind of like the way they live their life. They're marked with numbers, and the number basically shows like how powerful somebody is and stuff like that. But yeah, I can't say too much more about that show. It's a really cool show though. I did like that show, and I wish to see more of it. Sword Art Online is a popular show. It's called SAO for short. About these kids that get put in this virtual reality once they put on like this headset thing. They go into a virtual reality. The story is about the person that made this virtual reality. He like locked the kids inside of it, so like they're like in the real world, these kids are just basically in bed with this headset on. And in the real world, they figure out they're you know, these kids are stuck inside this game, so they all group them up, right? But you got the hero of the story who kind of figures it all out, and he levels up super powerful in the virtual reality game, and kind of, you know, he beats it or whatever. And so you get a lot of virtual reality anime shows out there. A lot of them are, I think, get their inspiration from this show. I would say judge for yourself. It's also not a perfect anime, but it's cool depending on if you like that style of anime. Fairy Tail, I've watched maybe half of Fairy Tail. The powers are cool. I like the characters in it. I stopped watching because it got a little repetitive. I might go back to it one of these days, but it got a little repetitive, and it just felt like the way they got out of every situation was through friendship, and I would like to see a little bit more than that, but I might come back to it. We'll see. I am interested to see how it ends. There's Assassination Classroom. Really cool concept. It's a complete anime. Highly recommend watching it. It's about this alien who's got like the tentacles and all that stuff, and he comes to Earth, and he's basically like the fastest thing alive. He becomes a teacher in this school of like misfits. Basically, the government gets a hold of this, and they basically tell the kids that they gotta kill their teacher, and the teacher knows this too, the alien. So he is teaching these students basically how to kill him, how to become like killers and kill him. Yeah, I'm not. I don't want to say too much more about it. They you know, got a little teary eyed at the end. It's another one of those. So that's now Naruto, Assassination Classroom, and My Hero Academia are the 3 that got me a little like teary eyed. The next couple I'm gonna go over are in a category where I classify them as like horny. Anime can get horny a little bit. If you know, you know. When I say that, I mean they over fantasize they either over fantasize the ladies in the show, or they over fantasize like a moment. So like, for example, the next one I watched was Food Wars, and it's if you can get past the horniness of that show, it is a dope show. You got this kid that goes to a cooking school. He runs a small time diner with his dad. He didn't know that his dad was actually like that dude, and back in his day went to this school that he's going to. But yes, it's Food Wars, and they basically a Food Wars when they battle each other on campus. Like they challenge each other to a cooking match, and so yeah, they'll give a category of like what to cook, and they'll cook it, and it's super dope, man. The show will have you like really wanting to make some of the stuff that they're cooking, man. It looks awesome. The food that they make, just how they make it, and you feel like you kind of like pick up on some things when you're watching too, like little bit of things that you pick up on, you might try in the kitchen when you watch a show. It's a really cool show. You learn a little, I think you learn a little bit about food while you're watching the show, even though it might not be real. I think you learn a little bit about it, and like I said, if you can get past the horniness, really cool. It's a nice show. You can get past it, and what I mean by that is, so when they make food, when it's done, and the opposition tastes it, or a judge tastes the food, it they get orgasms. They orgasm off the food. So, and it's super exaggerated. So if you can get past that, really cool show. Another one of those horny shows is High School D&D. Started watching it, that was actually my first time like being introduced to a show like that. Started watching it, was like, what in the world am I watching? And then couldn't take my eyes off of it. It's so weird because the story was actually it's not terrible. It's like a decent story, nothing crazy, but decent enough that it held my attention along with the craziness that goes on in it. So just to finish things off, I went through Akame ga Kill and Soul Eater, both decent animes that I breezed through. Nothing too crazy about those, but pretty decent if you're already into anime. Castlevania on Netflix, a really fun show. It's an American style anime. Some don't like to call that anime, but that's also a very cool vampire style show that has a different animation than most animes out there, which is why it's an American anime, so that makes sense. Then I sprinkled in some slice of life type of animes in there. I watched Fruit Baskets, the latest one, not the first one, which was cool. It's got one of the most positive characters in anime, I think. The girl in it, she's like super positive, even though all these bad things keep happening in her life. But she meets this family that have skeletons. They have some things going on in their lives. They're pretty isolated from the rest of the population. And she meets these dudes, and she like changes their lives for the better because of how positive she is. And people kind of just like cling on to her because of how positive she is. I've watched Yona of the Dawn, which is pretty cool. Snow White with the red hair, I was recommended. Kami-sama Kiss, watched that. Quintessential Quintuplets, which is funny. It's this guy that tutors these quintuplets, and he's in the same class as them. They're rich, he's poor, so he kind of needs a job, and it's like a crazy dynamic going on there. Date Alive I've watched. And as of right now, I'm watching Inuyasha. I have that on in the background as one of those classic 90s shows. Pretty good show. I'm watching Vinland Saga as well. I definitely recommend watching Vinland Saga. It's very different anime. Got the Norse mythology, which I like, the Vikings, which I like. So it's very different than your typical anime. I like what they put the main character through. He goes through a lot, so it makes it feel really earned when things happen. So I'm in the middle of that. I also watched the first episode of Spy X Family, which I know Crunchyroll is advertising heavily right now. And I watched the first episode. I'm gonna give it another couple episodes in, and I'm going to give that a chance as well because it looked pretty interesting. And then some might not say this is an anime, but Pokemon, I went back and I'm like, I need to watch Pokemon. That's a nostalgia thing. Grew up on it before school, watching episodes of Pokemon. So it's play the games and stuff. Right now the show is holding me over from Pokemon Arceus, and you got the Pokemon Violet and Pokemon Scarlet that are coming out later on in the year. So this is kind of holding me down through the dry season, right? But yeah, I'm in the third season of Pokemon right now with the Johto League. Something I just kind of put on before I go to sleep, or just have on in the background. Maybe I'm playing a game or something. I'll just throw it on, just to hear it, and just to hear it and see it a little bit. And then what's on my list of things to watch is JoJo's Bizarre Adventures. I keep pushing that off, but I know it's a super popular anime. So I want to get to it one of these days. Gintama's on my list. Overlord is on my list. Parasite's on my list. Berserk is on my list of things to watch. And last but not least at all, is One Piece. Man, One Piece is, I have to give it the props, man. It deserves. It is still going. It is one of those shows that started in the 1990s, I think, and they're still making episodes. It's like 1,000 something episodes deep. I've actually watched over 100, and this is one of the few that I actually like the side characters more than I like the main character. Luffy fans don't kill me for that, but like the side characters a little bit more. But very interested to see where that goes in that journey of One Piece, how that goes, how that ends. So I'm going to, one of these days I'm going to commit to it. Also Studio Ghibli movies, I know they're super popular. I know they're on HBO Max, or at least a good amount are on HBO Max. So one of these days I'm gonna sit down and watch these movies and get to that. That's really it. Like I said, Naruto is the first love. Special anime for me. Hits you in all the feels. Yeah, it's the GOAT for me. It's the GOAT for me. It made me actually try ramen for the first time. I tried ramen when I was in New York. I found a spot after navigating a little bit. I found a spot that I really liked out in New York, and every time I'm there, thinking about Naruto and Ichiraku ramen, just is really cool. Also, the girl that works at Ichiraku ramen is her name is Ayame. I love that name. That's one of those names. It's such a like elegant, sophisticated name, and I would name my daughter. I would name my daughter Ayame. So love that name. That's always, it's like stuck in my head, that name, to like, I might name my daughter that one day, but we'll see. Yeah, Naruto's that one. One of these days I'll probably rewatch it again. Some of the best battles in anime. Some of the best storylines, some of the best characters. It's just hard to beat. It's hard to beat. Really make you cry. I've been saying I've been getting teary-eyed in this video, but there's a moment, it's like near the end of the war. Man, I don't want to ruin it, but I was like bawling my eyes out. I was bawling my eyes out. Man, if I played it for you right now, I'm sure a lot of you would bawl your eyes out too. And before I head out, some of my favorite characters, now that after I've watched the show, some of my favorite characters, obviously Itachi up there. What he did, he had the vision. It was a long play. Power is awesome, super cool. Kakashi is up there for me. Guy Sensei is up there for me. I do like some of the villains, like Sasori is really up there for me. I love the puppet mastering. His battle with Lady Chiyo and Sakura, one of the great battles in that show. What else is up there? Shikamaru also up there. I really love his demeanor, the way he thinks, the way he looks at the world. Shikamaru is definitely one of the better characters in that show. Rock Lee, obviously, the underrated 10-10. Underrated, gave her no screen time. How you gonna be on a team with Neji and Rock Lee and give Neji and Rock Lee these stories and these character arcs, and then throw 10-10 aside like that? Disrespectful. Disrespectful. Not here for it. But yeah, those are my top characters in that show. And then, like I said, I will give you my top senseis. My top senseis, obviously, Kakashi, Jiraiya Sensei, you had to put in there. R.I.P. Jiraiya Sensei. Gojo from Jujutsu Kaisen. Captain Yami from the Black Bulls on Black Clover. And then Reagan, you have to say he's a sensei. He's got to be considered a sensei. So they're at the sensei table for me. They're at the sensei table. But oh, and how can I forget Aizawa? Aizawa from My Hero Academia. He's up there. He's up there. Yes. But again, thank you for tuning into this show. If you enjoyed, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and thank you for watching. I want to do more anime for you guys. This is the alternate timeline, aka escapism. We appreciate you. Super smash that like button, people. Hit it. See ya.